we're live. Good evening, chat. It is 10 p.m. in Romania. I wonder if I should do this. Like, mention the time that I'm in, but usually people will start asking, like, why are you up this late if I drop a, like, 2 a.m. or a 4 a.m. So, let me just open the chat because for some reason I haven't done it before starting the stream. It's going to take me a second. And then we can talk about interesting things. Is Trump going to fix Britain from his own home? Probably not. I'm genuinely, I don't know what to say. I mean, let me put it this way. A lot of people will talk about the Islamization of Britain, but, like, that couldn't happen unless the elites allowed it. And so, I think Britain has, like, a completely different culture than what we expect. Like, the British Empire and its culture, and then what went after with Margaret Thatcher and all that, yeah, I think it's gone. I think, like, British people have a new way of thinking. It's really hard for me to accurately define it. It's a very feminine way of thinking, I would say. But basically, a lot of Cananism drove up to 11. And maximum safetyism. This is how I would describe it. Like, maximum safetyism. It's like, well, you can't go online. You need to be safe. Like, you need to show ID in order to log on to a website. You need to be monitored. You need to have camera on the streets nonstop. We need to keep the planet safe, you know? Like Britain is the new culture of the embodiment, the avatar of safetyism. And as such, I don't think, like, Trump can solve it. I don't think, like, elections... Like, you know, the Muslim complaint. It's like, well, there's a lot of Muslims in Britain. Like, okay, but there are a lot of places where they aren't. And the culture there seems to, again, like, favor this concept of safetyism. It's like, we need to keep everyone safe. It's like, we need to keep women safe. And because of that, we need to tell men that if they stare at a woman for more than 5 seconds, that's virtually rape. You know, that type of thing. Reform may be leading the polls, but I don't understand how the British government works because their elections are really weird. They don't have an electoral college, but what I do know is that the Reform has got a lot less seats than they were supposed to, despite the fact that they got more votes than the Lib Dems, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, I mean, they may be running the polls, but it matters that, like, in which place, where, how. Karens are the enablers of globalism. I think it's a cultural issue. Like, you need to notice that shit just didn't work in Eastern Europe. I honestly start to look at it from a religious perspective, right? Like, because religion does have an impact on culture. And I'm starting to think that Lutheranism, like evangelicals, they really can't defend themselves against the woke. You need tradition, right? So, like, the evangelicals have this concept called sola scriptura, which basically means only the Bible, right? So, like, the only thing that matters is what's in the Bible, and that's that. And so when like, the person interpreting the Bible can interpret it in a way that's in his favor. Like, he interprets it in a way that makes him feel good. And then you can have a woke person interpreting the Bible in a way that justifies, like, you know, being a progressive, being tolerant, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, like, an Orthodox Christianity take is like, no, tradition is important. And if someone comes up and goes like, yeah, but Muslims are like, oh, well, we fought the Ottoman Empire for so many years, you know? It just doesn't work. Like, those arguments fell flat, so. But, like, see, there's another interesting thing. It's like, people say, well, yeah, the reason wokeness happened is because religion went away. And, okay, let's assume that's the case, right? But instead of, like, asking the real question, why did religion go away? Like, what did the religious people do to get their children not interested in religion? And I think the answer is Cananism. Like, I think the answer is, like, by telling people that Pokemon is satanic, Harry Potter is satanic, Dungeons and Dragons is satanic, what else did we have? Black metal is satanic, video games are bad, you know, like, everything that's fun is evil, some way. I think that pushed a lot of people to become atheists. There is no such thing called woke. Okay, if there's no such thing, we can make it. We can create the term woke, and we can add whatever we want to it. If there is no such thing, I have a feeling that okay, let me show you what it's woke. Let me show you what the fuck is woke. Look here. People are complaining that individuals have been banned from Kingdom Come Deliverance to Community Hub. Why? Because they were aggressive towards the fictional characters. So, like, apparently in the game, the developer lied about one of the characters that happens to be black. And he said that it plays a minor role, but apparently the role is actually tied to the main story and the quest lines, and you can't kill him. A lot of people don't like that. Now, the reason why people don't like the character is because he's promoting Sharia. He's basically complaining that, oh, like you guys in Bohemia, you don't have spices. You don't spice your food. Ah, ha, ha. You mistreat your women like there in my Muslim nation, we treat our women with respect and reverence, unlike you savages. You know, that type of thing. And the guy speaks Latin as well. And like, basically, he's an obnoxious character. This is what I gathered from the people that play the game. It seems to be like in unison. Like, the character is... It's kind of like a... Well, not really like a Rey from Star Wars, but... Yeah, it's a Gary stew, basically. You know, perfect in everything, enlightened, smarter than the player, etc., etc. And so, people have gone to the forums and talked about this. I find it ironic that people are trash-talking Musa while acting the same. If bro wants to talk shit, let him talk shit. It's his opinion, just as the opinion of people about his culture can vary. The way I see it is effing around that we will find out later or not. See, the thing with the player choice is that I agree. Like, if you had a character that talked mad shit, and you can just talk mad shit back to them, like let me show you an example of a character that allows player choice, and it's a choice that you would never see in a modern video game, right? Okay, now this is player choice. Do you honestly think that Vavra... Do you think Vavra would allow it into his game? Look at this player choice, chat. Look at it. Now you may ask why. I don't fucking know, but it's in the game. If you want to do it, you can do it. A very strong player choice. But again... Do you think a game made in 2020, well, like 4 years ago, right? Because like it usually is a 4-year cycle to make a game. Do you think a game that was made in 2021 would allow that in? And you don't have to be a woman. Like, it doesn't have to be like a lesbian relationship for you to do that. Like, if you play a male character, you can do it as well. Hello, Tomcat. You cannot be straight in the game without being cocked. See, I already said I'm not playing the game. Like my stance on the game was as follows, and I was absolutely right so far. I said, I believe that the game is woke, but I also think that the game will sell. And I was like very honest about it. Like, the normies will buy it because they bought Baldur's Gate 3. There is no way they're not going to buy Kingdom Come just because it has like a homosexual relationship and a black character, right? Like, normies don't care about that. I personally view it as such. I think that if a game has pronouns, or if it has like some vibes on the surface, to me it looks like it's the banner of progressivism. Like, that's not the issue, you know, the standard, the flag is not the issue, but it's the stuff that comes after the flag, right? So, I said that, look, this game is woke, this game is going to sell, but I'm not buying it, I'm not playing it because I don't have a lot of money and I can't fund entertainment that I won't like. And so, I'm not stopping anyone. Like, if you want to play the game, go play the game. By now, there's a lot of streamers that have streamed the game, right? So like, it's not like the homosexual relationship that I have the problem with. To me, the problem is the all the other things, right? Where, again, like, you have this black character that can talk mad shit and disparage the culture, the customs, the religions of the people in the place. But... You can't kill them, right? Like in Baldur's Gate 3, like if this character was in Baldur's Gate 3, you'd be able to kill them. or you'd be able to at least win in a rhetorical battle against him. It's like, okay, he wants to say that his place respects women better. Well, allow me to like have the ability to read a book about his place, right, in the game, right? Like you find a book about that, then you go to him. It's like, but what such and such? Like, what about this and this and that, right? Like that would actually be player choice. But no, like you're robbed of player choice here. So if we set aside the fact that he shouldn't even be in the game, as it's basically impossible for him to be there, claims the person. I don't mind the fact that his character makes those claims. The problem is you can't talk back to him or to organize a good old lynching. The post contains material that promotes violence. Again, this is a video game, right? Like we're talking in a fictional content, and this is like literally the absolute cancer that's left and right. It knows no bounds. The disability or the impossibility of people to differentiate between fact and fiction. Like I gotta say, the moment I see a person that's unable to make this difference, to me, it's like talking with a 5-year-old. Right? Like a 5-year-old is unable to tell that Superman isn't real. And so you're talking to that type of person. I don't know why these people aren't mocked and ridiculed the same way that the people that said air conditionings are sexist should have been mocked and ridiculed. But yet again, here we are. Like a lot of the problems from entertainment comes from this mentality. It's like if a person likes to have like a lynching in a video game, then he must be a racist. There must be something wrong with him in real life. There is absolutely no reason to believe this is the case. I already gave example, like I know people that played role-playing games as the most evil, sadistic people, but in real life they were really nice. They finished med school, they have families, that they're pillars of the community and stable members of society. And then I know a person that actually did end up going to prison, and he was always playing like good characters in video games. And so, no, like this is absolutely ridiculous. This is the most dumb shit that I have ever seen. Well, actually, no, it's not the dumbest shit I have ever seen, because I remember when, what was it? Was it Ubisoft? I forgot the name of the game. The ones that made Titanfall 2, they made another hero shooter, and they released a character that was non-binary, going by they, them. And if you went to the forum and misgendered that character, you would get banned. So, like, I would say that is a little bit more retarded than this. You can frame Muska for a crime he didn't commit much more than slapping. I didn't know that. Like, someone said that he actually does go to a trial, but, like, if you don't defend him, you get hanged. So, that would be interesting if you can frame him for a crime he didn't commit. The UK is chanting the magic words on Twitter. No one is above the law. Oh my fucking god! It's always when the leftists are in charge, right? It's funny that they ran out of money to make churches, but they had money to retcon. Another thing that I know is that and this actually pissed off Vavra. Like, there's a quest in the game where you got like, okay, so there are some Jewish people in the game, which I understand, like, historically they weren't there. In Bohemia at that time period, there wasn't Jewish people because, like, again, the church had dominion. Like, if you're a Jew, you had to convert to Christianity, right? But apparently there are Jews in the game. Again, parenthesis, like, I don't know if this is true or not. It's what I've read from Twitter. But apparently the Christians want to start a program, and you gotta go there and warn the Jews. And if you do that, you save them, and the Force ghost of your father appears and tells you that you did a good job, right? Now, if this is about player choice, why can't you join the Crusaders? Right? Because it's all about player choice. Like that's what they're doing. They're trying to empower the player and creating his own universe. Now, I know in the first game, because I did play that, in the tutorial, or actually, well, in the prelude, I guess, because at that point it's not really a tutorial, there are some peasants that want you to go with them to throw dung on a noble's house, right? So the peasants, like, they encourage you, like, let's go and throw with cow shit on this noble's house. And you got, like, several options. You can choose to go, or you can choose not to go. I don't know if you can actually warn the noble. That would also be interesting. But That's player choice, right? Where's the choice here then? Why do you like have this quest so one-sided? It's optional unless it goes against something the devs want you to do specifically. Not a noble, a German's house. But was it like a German of nobility? Like, I think it was a German of some statue. I may misremember because, like, the game happened so long ago. I may actually, like, pick up that game and play it again because, like, I already bought it, so... that game was nice. The combat was really shit, though. Like, I really hated the combat in the game, but other than that, I think, like, the game was good. The game clearly has an agenda, but it is solid enough for plausible deniability. Well, the thing that I don't like, honestly, like, it's not the agenda, because, like, I'm immune to it, right? Like, I already know the agenda, I already know, so I can just sigh and roll my eyes. That's not the problem. The problem is that the themes are cringe. Like, I've already known these themes. I have seen them a million times. Yes, the person that's a minority or has some sexual orientation, he's good at everything. He is wise beyond his years. He is compassionate beyond the human understanding. He is like the perfect being, the Alpha and the Omega. I would have loved the Middle Ages. There was like a lot of superstition in the Middle Ages. So like people would treat superstition as if it's true. But other than that, I don't know. Like I guess... Take into account that you would have to sleep with your cow, like during the winter, in order for the peasants to get warmth. They would actually sleep with the animals inside. So like you would actually bring the animal, the cow or the horse or whatever, so that the creature existing in the house provides warmth. So I don't know, like there are advantages or disadvantages. I suppose like it also matters like what time period you're in. Musa's people made clay castles when Bohemia made castles out of stone and cathedrals. Oh my god. Anyway. To be fair, like you know, when you're young, you think that the technology makes people happy, but when you're getting old, you realize that community is what makes people happy, so... Yeah, by the way, something is happening with the BBC because they would never have reported on something like this, which is very interesting.
When it comes down to the wider economy, you know, we hear from Labour politicians now, growth is everything, it's at the top of the list, whether it's housing, planning, energy, whatever. But you sense behind the scenes that focus on growth means a bit less focus on green issues, that Ed Miliband is somehow not quite flavour of the month and the business department is a bit more popular in number 10. Do you see that in your sector?
I tell you what, I mean, I go around the world and I see, for example, and I'm not an apologist for China, but I see, you go to China, 59% of all the world's renewable energy built last year was built in China. More than half the cars sold are electric. The air quality in those cities that famously was so bad in Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, is now, you know, better than in some Western cities. And you see that they are driving their growth as a nation by building more super cheap, clean energy. And so we don't need to...
Doesn't this guy sound like a car salesman? Like, this is framed as a conversation between some people, right? But how likely is it that you're sitting there and you're having a glass with someone, right? You're having a beer, and you're asking the person, yeah, don't we have, like, don't you think the air quality here is bad? And the guy goes, like, immediately, oh, yeah, you know, like, China, I'm in China, and the air quality there is fucking amazing, and they're a lot greener than us, and everything they do is a lot better than us, and, you know, I heard that when a Chinese person farts, it smells of roses, unlike us. Like, what? You know, like, it's so fucking weird.
Super cheap, clean energy.
Look, it's almost like he's advertising people to go there and visit.
And so we don't need to see this as being a trade-off. In fact, the industries of the future are clean energy. I'll give some examples. I mean, our company alone created over 3,000 jobs in the UK last year, across the entire UK. Gillian made the point about it shouldn't all be about London. We employ people from the south coast of England to the north of Scotland. The technologies we're building here, we export to now, I think, 30 countries.
So the government can and should still do both, in your view?
And the most important thing, though, is we bring bills down. So right now, when we building wind farms, for example, we pay them to switch off when it's windy because we don't have enough grid to transmit it. If we reform our energy...
See, why don't they talk about nuclear power? We need to construct strong, powerful nuclear plants that will burn those radioactive fuels and power the entire nation. We will generate so much electricity that we can light up everything from here to North Korea. When the light switch goes on, everyone goes blind because there is just so much fucking power. And the Chinese will look at us with envy. They have like their little windmills, and the little windmills go round and round. But our reactor does the fusion and creates the power of 1,000 suns built by the strong hearts of the British people and their Muslim allies. You know, like, why isn't that rhetoric on the BBC? Like, why can't we have that? No, we're going to build the little windmill, and the little windmill, and the solar panel, and the little windmill, and it's going to do, and that's the energy of the future. And when we go to war, every single tank is going to have a little windmill up its ass. And it will fire with, like, environmental-friendly munition. And when we need to amp up the munition productivity because Russia builds more, like we're going to just build another windmill, and then that's our energy. Yes, absolutely. The future. The future. What the fuck is wrong with these people? Donating straight up to the Romanian taxman. Happy tax season. I really hate this season. Worst season of my life. The reason you can't join the anti-Jew group is because it's a setup. The guy who gives the mission is lying to you. Again, I haven't played it there, but like, why can't you join it if it's a setup? Like, that would be even cooler. You're joining it and you get set up. Hot take normies love consuming woke slop. It's when wokeness turns into incompetence that it kills you. No. I will explain to you what the normies are, right? I will just explain to you in the best way that I can. The child's book, The Little Windmill That Could, yes. Okay. Most people on planet Earth, they don't care about politics. And that's a good thing, by the way, because usually when you don't care about politics, it means that things are stable. It means that things are okay. Now, most people, what do they care about? They care about their families and their neighborhoods and the area surrounding them, right? Like, they got, I mean, I'm looking at my wife, for instance, right? Like, what is her daily activity? What does she do? Well, she wakes up, she handles some of the housework, but now she doesn't go to work because she's in maternity leave. But, like, when she was going to work, she would go to work, talk with people at the office, right? Like, fulfill her requirements at the hospital, come home, and then tell me a little bit about the drama at the office, and then she would have some time to watch entertainment. That entertainment is crucial into people's lives, because, like, again, she sees a lot of nasty shit at the hospital, she deals with a lot of problems, so, like, she needs to have the time to unwind, she needs to have entertainment so that she can have the energy to go next day and save people's lives. And so, like, that entertainment, to her, it's not ideological, right? Like, for her, the entertainment needs to be entertaining. It doesn't matter if it's communist entertainment. It doesn't matter if it's American, if it's Chinese. It just has to be entertaining. The problem with the woke is that they forgot how to make entertainment because they hire incompetent people, and incompetent people can't make anything, including entertainment. For instance, The Last of Us 2, despite the cringe fest, is still an entertaining game. This is why normies buy it. Now, sure, you know, us as ideologues can help the industry fail a lot faster by, like, you know, doing a little bit of boycotting here and there, recommending better games, that type of shit. And so, like, the industry, but, like, at the end of the day, the normies aren't buying woke games, not because the games are woke, because the normies are able to put up with wokeness just fine. It's because they're shit. That's why. They're broken on launch, they cost too much, they're filled with bugs, the characters are uninteresting, the stories are boring. And that's another thing, right? Like, the thing with wokeness. Like, yeah, I take it back. Like, normies will buy woke stuff, but then it becomes boring after a while. It's like anything else, you know? I remember growing up, there were a lot of movies that took place in space, right? Like, you had Star Trek, you had Stargate, You had Battlestar Galactica. You had like all these things, and they took place in space. And after a while, people just get bored of things that take place in space. And then you go to to zombies, right? So now you have like all these zombie shows and zombie movies and zombies everywhere. And then people get bored, and then they go for superheroes, right? And so if you look at the wokeness, it's the same thing. It's like, okay, you got themes about social justice and oppression and blah, blah, blah. And like the movies are very feminine oriented. But like after a couple of years, people get really bored of that. They want something new. Like I noticed that China, speaking of China from the BBC, I like the BBC, I'm not paid by them. Joking, I don't know if the BBC is paid by them either. But like, the thing with China is that they're starting to make a lot of movies and films that are very masculine oriented. It's like the hero that's, struggling to save someone they love. They champion the concept of virginity. Like a lot of women, they get access to superpowers and they lose them once they lose their virginity and that type of shit. Like that's what China is pushing. So yeah, I mean it's quite possible that China will actually dominate the entertainment in the future. They advertise great technology because much of it is either built or has parts made in China, making us dependent on them. Yes, I'm aware. Reigning terror, no V. Any anti-group is an FBI honeypot. You're going to be thrown in jail. Remember that the Type 12 FBI agents set up 2 guys trying to kidnap a government. The Whitmore case. Yeah, I remember that. Normies ruin everything. I gotta say, maybe the centralization of social media is a fucking problem. Maybe like people forced to interact with each other is a fucking problem. Like, back in the day, you had the internet, and every part of the internet had various forums and sub-communities with their own takes and preferences. And so you would go on 4chan, and they would have like their own lingo and their own customs and behavior. And it was different than what you would find on IRC. And it was different than what you would find on MMO Champion. And it was completely different than what you'd find on MySpace, right? And so it was like normal to have like someone that's, let's say, a goth, right? And he would go like in places that sponsor goth culture. And then you have like other places that have rock culture. So now that the internet is everywhere, and so the internet is centralized, and everyone is forced to interact with each other, you have people go like, oh my goodness, too much talk about suicide in media. We can't have that. Hey, goth, I'm really concerned. Like, I'm a goth person as well, but I'm really concerned about your lyrics. Like, they're too dark. They encourage people to do bad things, and right? Like what the fuck? It's like, just fuck off. Like, why are you there? I also had a conversation with a person on Twitter, and I was talking about Nikkei, right? And I was showing like the perfect ass of, what was it? Red Hood, right? So like Red Hood's new skin, I was admiring it, like, look at it. And then this person goes, that's pornography, why I worship Jesus and Melanie Mac. And I'm like, why the fuck is this person in MySpace? Who invited this chucklehead? Why the fuck is this asshole here? Like, we have like common courtesy and rules for being polite in real life. Like, if 2 people are talking, it's considered rude to interrupt. But we don't have that on the internet. There should be like some, code of manners for the internet. Like, I don't want someone splurging out. If I'm talking about Nikkei and you have nothing productive to add to the conversation, fuck off. Take your Bible and fucking read it. If you're reading it, you can't speak. Good. Thank you, Nightmare, for the $5. Normies turn hobbies into opportunities to buy brand t-shirts so they can post on Instagram and go, lol, I'm so nerdy. That doesn't even bother me. That doesn't even fucking bother me that some normie like has a t-shirt and he's proud. Like, whatever the fuck, I don't care. No, the problem is when they start moral... I almost said the slur, chat. I almost said the slur, the moral... I immediately stopped before I melody mechanized myself. Yeah, that's the thing that really bothers me, is the moral... You know? I bet that person is underage. That's another conversation. Like, everyone is like, oh my god, there's porn on Twitter and there's children there. So ban the fucking children. Ban all of them. I'm actually in favor of that. I think it's unhealthy. Why should a kid be on Twitter to begin with? Ban them all. Until they're 18, I don't want to see them on Twitter. Arrest the parents that allow kids to go on Twitter, because that's like the same like allowing a kid to go in a bar. Like the same stuff that a parent gets if a kid goes into a bar, that's the punishment that they should get for kids being on Twitter. I'm not even joking. It's unhealthy. The shirt comes before demoralizing. That is correct, yeah, like, I guess that's the red flag. But, you know, I'm not into thought policing. Like some normies wearing shirts, they don't end up moral... but others do, you know, so... would you buy his shirt? The his shirt is actually illegal in my country. One of the people running for president now, it has actually passed the legislation in the past banning people that are sporting like this type of paraphernalia. And so Kanye's shirt is genuinely illegal to have in Romania. The thing is, like, the law was already there, but now they're enforcing it. Well, they're enforcing it because of some political turmoil, and they're enforcing it because there's like the whole thing with the annulment of the president election and shit. Yeah. Yellow Flash's girlfriend abandoned him. You know, Yellow Flash does watch my channel. Maybe now that he is single, he can be interested in my game. See, any tragedy I can probably turn into an opportunity. Yellow Flash, have you considered, like, are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling distressed? Fear not. I have the perfect game for you. This game is going to bring you hours of entertainment and make you forget about your miseries, if only for a little while. Someone clip that and send it to him. I'm not kidding. Just do it. Just clip it and send it to him. You're not allowed to wear Kanye's shirt? Well, the thing is that sorry. The thing is that the law is a little bit vague and can include the Happy Wheel, right? And the Kanye shirt has the Happy Wheel. V Arch and Sargon all streaming at the same time. Oh my God, Sargon is streaming. Let's see. Hold on, I'll stream snipe him. Where the fuck is Sargon? What is he streaming about? Sargon Avocado. He's talking about the death of the... Oh, he is live. Welcome to UK.
Is wondering what was the UK like before mass immigration? Well, imagine a mix of the Shire from Lord of the Rings, Hogwarts from Harry Potter, and the average Madness video, right? These were all like the general sweeping tones of England in particular.
That's a little bit of rose-tinted glasses. The UK always had like this lunar energy about it, and this obsession with safetyism. But there was a time period in which actually things were good, so maybe he is talking about that.
You had the sort of... These things are based on, filmed in, apart from Lord of the Rings, I suppose, locations of England. This is what England was like in the before time. And if you're a young person these days, you won't remember it. But it still exists.
I think you can still find it if you go to like a rural village, right? Like, just because London and some of the neighboring areas are bad, doesn't mean that the rural places are. Although I'm pretty sure that Labour is doing their best in order to destroy those rural places.
In parts. You just have to go look for it.
Oh, yeah, he meant.
But anyway, like I said, this account, again, I both love and hate it, right? Some parts of it sometimes are hilarious. Some parts of it are insanely depressing. And it makes you wonder what the people in charge of this country are trying to achieve. They're
trying to achieve the transformation of the country to an economic zone. Line goes up, everyone is happy, right? Like, wealth goes up. I think like you can compare it kind of to the Byzantium Empire in a little way. Where like the bureaucracy is more important than anything else, And so, like, they're trying to create a bureaucratic apparatus for themselves and their connections, and they don't care about the other people. It literally ran like a company. Like, you are a human resource. You're a cog in a machine, right? Replaceable cog. Now, normally, when that happens in other nations, people just flee. Like, they just fucking leave. But, well, in the case of Britain, people want to stay. I mean, it's their choice, but it's bizarre. Like, I definitely would have packed up and moved to Poland by now. You can still vote, by the way. Like, oh, it's traitorous, it's abandoning. No, it's not traitorous, and it's not abandoning, right? Like, you from Poland, you can come back every single time there's elections, and you can vote. What's the difference if you stay there? Like, what exactly do? You pay taxes into the system. That's what you're doing. Isn't that like, okay, if we are to assume that the government is betraying the people, isn't paying taxes to the government treason then? Like, okay, why not just move to Poland, you pay taxes to the Poles, and then you go back in your country whenever you can vote if you want to change stuff. There you go. Safetyism, much like most things, is only good if you have culturally homogeneous society. No, safetyism is never good. Safetyism is a cancer, and I do think that risk-taking, being ambitious, is actually desirable. Like, take, for example, breakdancing and extreme skateboarding. Both of them are dangerous activities that result in absolutely no gain for society. The fact that someone skateboard doesn't increase the standard of society, and it's actually dangerous for the person partaking in the hobby. But, like, why should you ban it, right? Like, a person that's built on safetyism, they would say, well, this has to go. No, that person is the one that has to go. Leave the man alone. He's an adult, is making a decision. He wants to get that adrenaline burst by skating in an extreme manner. So who the fuck are you to tell him not to? Fuck off. Mind your own business. England was never that great. Well, to be fair, like, every single country has issues, right? Like, you can't really say that a country is great. I'm actually trying to think if... well, Switzerland. Yeah, Switzerland was actually always that great. But if I was to think of a European country that was actually always good, I don't think I can think of any, actually. The Vatican. Maybe the Vatican. Yeah. To be fair, like, Italy wasn't bad. Italy was actually kind of cool. But yeah. Now I would say that in Eastern Europe, I'm actually very happy where I'm at. Like, I'm really glad that I'm in Romania. If I actually had the choice to move elsewhere, I wouldn't. Unless, like, I would know that there's a war coming. And then I'm like, well, I care about my wife and my kid. And so, like, that's the priority number one for me. But other than that, though, I don't think that that there's a better place right now. Like, things can change. Like, sure, you know, in 10 years, things can change. But, like, right now, Romania, 90% home ownership, crime rates plummeting. I'm not struggling to make a living. Like, of course, you know, I could make better, but I'm happy where I'm at. Fastest internet probably in the world. Like, everything you want, you can have. There's, like, no technology or things that Americans have that I can't. Well, actually, there is one. Hold on. There is one. I can't have AI that makes videos. For some reason, the European Union doesn't allow that. And so I would have to install a VPN, but I don't want to. Considering Yellow Flash is a weeb with a family, no standards at all, that Frost episode made me laugh so hard. I really don't like judging content creators based on, like, the standards and the morality they have. Because the only difference between them and other people is that they have a camera on them every day. But, like, if you tell me a person and you put a camera on them every day, there is no fucking way you would find out that they lack standards and they're not. Like, okay, no, hold on, let's reverse it. Name me a content creator that is like a beacon of morality, and you'd say, you know what, this is like the best person that I want my son to grow up as. Because I actually thought about this for a while, and I was like, is there a single content creator out there that I could say, like, yes, this person has no moral flaws? And the answer is, there isn't. So what I tend to come up with is that every single human being has like positive attributes and negative attributes. And so it's important to learn the positive attributes from the people around us and try to also learn from the negative. Like, don't be like that guy. And take into account that what's positive for you may be negative for another and vice versa. Like, for instance, PewDiePie, right? Like, he said racist jokes, he promoted racismus. Like, many left-leaning people absolutely despise him because of that. So they will say that he is a very immoral person. But all in all, yeah, you know, you're right. I didn't think about PewDiePie because he's not a content creator anymore. Like, he doesn't upload, right? he moved to Japan. No, I don't think I'm a good example either. Romanticizing the past a bit gives us a goal to work towards the future. I think it's good to learn from the past. I do think that it's important sometimes to also learn from the bad things of the past to appreciate the things we have now. But like to try to recreate the past, I don't know if it's possible. And I don't think it's even achievable. Yeah, like this idea, oh, like this content creator is blah, blah, blah. It's like, he's immoral, he's degenerate. It's like, okay. But like, to be degenerate is to be human. Like, there is no content creator out there that's not degenerate. The only ones that aren't is because they've been streaming for maybe like a month or two and we don't know much about them. But like, as far as I know, every single content creator... Like, okay, let's take into example DSP. Right, like Dark Side Phil, he is considered to be the biggest lol cow and blah blah blah. But like, what exactly has DSP done that would be extremely outrageous if he hadn't filmed himself? Like if DSP was your neighbor, right? No, seriously, think about this, right? Like DSP is your neighbor. Would he really inconvenience you in any way? Like, would it be a problem if Dark Side Phil lived next door to you? Would you complain, right? Like, you see him on the street and you're like, hey, Phil, what's up? And he's like, ah. And then you go back into your house and you do the stuff, right? Like, you cannot recreate the past, just learn from it. That's true. Meanwhile, it's the people that you don't know much about that are the issue. DSP is like a sea cucumber. Yeah, but like, how does that make it difficult to live with him in a neighborhood? Like, if I have DSP as my next door neighbor, like, does it influence me in any way? I suppose you can say, well, okay, like, the only bad thing with having DSP as your neighbor is that if you actually had your house burning, he's not the reliable person to help, right? Like, I don't see DSP running out with a bucket because his back is hurting, right? But, like, other than that, no, like, I would rather have DSP as a neighbor than to have a Karen. Like, there's a lot of people that pretend to ooze morality that I really wouldn't like to have as a neighbor. Because, like, I would always end up in fighting with them. Like, I just like, non-stop conflict, non-stop arguing, non-stop cursing and swearing. How does DSP affect you if you were his neighbor? The only way that he could possibly affect me, I guess, is if he plays video games too loud after it's bedtime, right? So, like, after I try to go to sleep, I hear, like, loud music. That's it. But, like, nothing that DSP did would make me believe that he is out of the ordinary. Like, it's something... You know, like Christian. Christian actually did a lot of bad things. I wouldn't want Christian as a neighbor, right? Like, there are people that I wouldn't want as a neighbor. Like, I understand why the problem with Christian, but Christian is obviously not well. DSP, I have no problem with him. Invite DSP over for barbecue. I would actually think that having barbecue with DSP wouldn't be a bad idea. Like, it would not be an unenjoyable experience. And ironically, I think Maximilian Dude may be the one who fits the bill the most. Oh, like a moral person? But what do we actually know about Maximilian's Dude's life? Like, he doesn't share that much, right? So, yeah, you may be right. Maximilian Dude is actually a good person. I wouldn't want Christian in the same state that me. DSP is also a Karen. Has he Karenized? Like, when I was watching him, he wasn't, like, moralizing and stuff. But, like, I don't see him like the type of person that would come out to start screaming that my grass isn't cut correctly, or start making like moral accusations or moral condemnations. But if he turned into that, then I take it back. I wouldn't want him as a neighbor. Living in my neighborhood is so fucking good. Like, I don't know what my neighbors are doing. They don't know what I'm doing. It's perfect. It's the way things should be. The mentality in Romania is like maximum freedom in private and maximum scrutiny in public. So, like, the way you conduct yourself in public is actually important, but there is such a thing as a private life, and the internet is considered the quasi public place, so. Anyway, let's go into discussing about the Online Safety Act. Because this is where did I say? Here it is. The Free Speech Union. Now we have websites for this. Free Speech Union. Online Safety Act. Labor is willing to renegotiate elements of the flagship Online Safety Act. A flagship. Raising the prospect that its social media censorship laws could be softened to address the United States free speech concerns and help create a deal with Trump's administration. Grant custom amount. Is this for USID? Like where you give them like $10,000 in subscription? Granting sweeping new powers to Ofcom to regulate online content, the act has long been criticized for its broad scope. Listen to this madness, right? Like, this is absolute peak British insanity. Like, other countries in the world are woke, but, like, the Brits are going to a place where not even the Soviet Union has dared to tread. Seriously, like, not even China has this in the open. Like, they're probably doing it behind closed doors. Like, many countries have the decency to do this shit in secret. No, the Brits are proud of it. Measures targeting harmful but legal speech. Do you understand? Like, so the speech is legal, but if they consider it harmful, well, if it's harmful, shouldn't it be illegal? So if Skullfuck47 calls you a poopy head, that's a violation. Not even China does this. And I'm being serious here. Like, China is not a beacon of virtue, just so you know. Like, not even the Soviet Union did this. And what I'm saying is, like, to apply something that the law doesn't mention, to punish something that's not illegal. Like, no, the Soviet Union had actual laws on censorship. And so does China. Like, China is very strict when it comes to censorship. They make it clear what you are and aren't allowed to talk about. But what Britain is saying, well, no, if it's harmful and we get to decide. Like banning based on subjective thing. This is insane. I don't think like any democracy in the world has tried to pass something like this. Again, I'm not saying that China doesn't like violate its own laws, heaven forbid. Or that the Soviet Union didn't arrest people that didn't break any law. But what I'm saying is that publicly, like when talking in public, in their Pravda newspapers, they wouldn't flat out say, yeah, like we are going to punish people who don't break the law. Like not even them. Not even them had the balls. Not even them had the audacity to say something like this. This is kind of like saying, okay, we got some magic stones, and if the magic stones, we spin them a little bit, and if the stones land the wrong way, your speech is in violation. So you better pray, like, but you know, don't be afraid, because our magic stones, they only go against people that are harmful. If you have nothing to hide, the magic stones, they align perfectly, so you're not, right? Like, this is the argument they're making. And as they say, it allows for huge financial penalties against tech companies that fail to remove content deemed harmful, even if it's not unlawful. Critics, include the Free Speech Union, have long argued that these provisions will pressure social media companies to adapt. If in doubt, cut it out. I already do that on my Discord server. It's absolutely true. Like, you have someone posting a South Park joke, and it's like, well, is this racist? I don't fucking know. But I don't want the Discord server to get nuked. The Electronic Frontier Foundation has also warned that the act could create a blueprint for repression, encouraging platforms to err on the side of censorship. Yeah, so basically Trump told them that this is a roadblock. We can't work with Britain with this shit. And it seems that Labour is like, alright, Is Trump doing a Romanian salute? Let me check. Where's the article? Ah. No, he's not. He's not doing a Romanian salute. No, no. You need to raise the arm a lot higher. You know, I realized that if the Nazis would have won World War II, then the Black Fist salute would be banned. Like you would have like laws and regulations saying that if you raise your fist in the air, that's a hate symbol. They would have probably classified it differently. They wouldn't say it's a hate symbol. They would say it's something else, a subversive symbol or something. But it's very interesting, right? Like if the Nazis would have won World War II, then the hammer and sickle would be banned everywhere, and the fist would be banned. Even if the Nazis would have failed afterwards, right? Because like just because you won the war doesn't mean you managed to keep the empire. Like the Soviet Union, right? Like the Soviet Union won the war, but after that it collapsed, right? So like in a universe, in an alternative scenario where Germany wins the war, and then after a while it collapses, I'm willing to bet that in our timeline, the fist in the air, like the red fist, would be considered a hate symbol, and the hammer of sickle would be banned everywhere. Brits need to either boogaloo or leave the UK. I don't think boogaloo is possible. Due to the technology that people have right now, and especially in Britain, where they have like entire teams that for decades have dedicated resources into figuring out how to stop hooligans from hooliganizing. And the level of surveillance in Britain, I would say it's on par with China. Like they have CCTV on every corner. They can track you based on your phone. They have facial recognition software. Now they even have like, they realize that the human heart, like the beating of the human heart is actually particularly different to every individual. So like even if you're wearing a mask, if they see your heart, like if they have like thermal sensors and they can see how your heart is beating, they can recognize who you are based on that. Like that is like even a more active fingerprint than just seeing someone's face. And so like any type of like organized resistance in Britain, like unless it's being supported by foreign states, is not going to happen. And so yeah, like the best thing that Brits can do is to go to Poland. Although like the Polish are starting to get upset because their housing prices are going up. And their housing prices are going up for two reasons. Well, actually three. The first one is because a lot of people from the West that are trying to flee multiculturalism are actually going to Poland. The second one is that a lot of Ukrainian refugees are in Poland. And the third one is that a lot of Polish people don't want to sit at the border with Belarus. And so, like, the price of housing is going up. But what they can do, however, is go to Hungary. Like, there's more Eastern Europe that they can. But it will be like a huge cultural shock. I don't think, like, people here understand. Like, if you come to Eastern Europe and you try to moralize someone or moral shame them, if they're not associated with you in any way, like, they're not your friend, they're not your family, you're going to get hands thrown against you. Like most Eastern Europeans do not like to be moralized by strangers. In fact, like, if you try to be a concerned citizen, that's a slur. Like the concept of concerned citizen is a slur. So, yeah. Housing prices going up. Gee, I wonder what it's like. To be fair, the UK isn't actually in that bad of a spot. Spain is. Like, Spain is suffering really strong financially. To the point where even the communists are going to have to, like, start cutting some of their government ministries. They're going to start doing a little bit of afuera. It's going to be hard for them, but they'll try. It's like blue state people going to red states. They shit up the place. Yeah, but like the difference is that Eastern Europe doesn't speak English. The culture is a lot more difficult. You're going to be seen as an outsider. And so if you come here, it's a lot more difficult than like going from a blue state to a red state. And so not many English people will take the opportunity, right? Which is why I can shill it safely, because I know like only a couple may take up the offer. But like on the grand scale of things, no. If you weren't in the EU, I would move to Romania. Like what exactly in the EU displeases you that you wouldn't move to Romania? Like the EU is just annoying because if you want to start a business, if you want to live in Western Europe, but like in Eastern Europe, it's fine. Catalonia is 35% of Spain's GDP and only 8% of the population. They need their own country. Do you know, like, Catalonia is actually funny because they want their own country, but they want to join the EU. And so the question is, like, well, why are you leaving Spain? Like, if you're going to leave Spain and join the EU, it's literally the same shit. And so, like, the only people that would win are the elites, like the politicians and the establishment. A lot of Brits moved to Australia, despite Australia being extremely cringe as well. Yeah, no, like, the Anglosphere is going through, like, some level of cringe that I didn't thought possible. Like, they're moving so far away from the 90s and the early 2000s, and even, like, the 2010s, and they're going towards cringedom at maximum speed. So, I don't know why, but we'll see what the future brings. They can't get rid of the Canada's mentality. Like, I'm looking on Twitter. It's just over with the whole woke nonsense, and now we have puritanical nonsense. And it's like, can we just not have nonsense, please? Like, can we not just, you know, go back to having hobbies and enjoying shit and leaving other people alone? No. Well, like, just yesterday, I'm looking at this shit where people were asking to ban porn on Twitter. And I'm like, but why, though? And they had the poll. Like, they had the poll on the Visengard post, right? Like, it's a right-wing. And apparently, like, 50% of people want to ban it, 50% of people don't. It was skewing in favor of the people that do want to ban it, right? And so I'm thinking, like, okay, hold on a little bit. Like, does tradition not mean anything to you? Like, you're already on a platform that allowed porn since the very beginning. Like, since the inception of the platform, it was allowed. And it was there for more than a decade. And it's also difficult to find it because the algorithm suppresses it. You have to mark it as not safe for work. So, like, even if it does come on your feed, you have to click on it to see it. And so, like, there's literally no reason to have this infighting. Like, if there's, like, people that are leaving you alone and they're not doing anything, why do you go out of your way to fuck with them? Like, why are you trying to start up shit? Because, like, even in the right-wing faction, yes, I know, conservatives watch porn, horrible. But it's not about that, you know, because it's not even about the porn. It's like the moral crusade. Like, there always needs to be some moral crusade. Well, why does there always need to be some moral crusade? Why can't you just be happy that the woke is gone and find a hobby, find something that you like, and mind your own fucking business? This is what I don't get, because, like, there's a lot of, you know, like here's my side of the story. Like, you have an artist, right? He likes to doodle shit. Maybe some, I don't know, like some fandom stuff. He likes to doodle big titty elves, right? And this is what he's good at. He doodles big titty elves, and then goes on Twitter for the last decade or so, and he was selling his big titty elves for a price, and he was paying taxes, and that's his business, that's his livelihood, that's what he does. He has a company, he's a self-hired person, you know? And now you're telling him, no, you're not allowed to do it. Why, though? Like, why are you fucking with his business? What did he do to you? You don't know him, he's probably from a different country than you. You're like, you don't have to see his shit, you don't have to have him in your timeline, you don't have to interact with him. And the thing that I also find interesting is that, and this is actually something that does upset me, gore, right? Like, I find gore on Twitter, and I find gore a lot more often than I actually find porn, believe it or not. You go on Twitter, and all of a sudden you have, like, a war crime from Ukraine. And it's, like, very popularized, it's got, like, millions of views, it's got, like, a lot of likes, and you get to see a soldier getting blown up or some shit. And it's like very graphic. And like, why the fuck is this on my timeline? I don't enjoy this shit. But I wouldn't say you should ban it. No, like, it's good that it exists. Like, Twitter is one of the only platforms that actually allows that type of stuff. I think people should see the carnage of war, so they advocate for it less. And that they embrace the concept of peace a lot more. And so, I'm not for banning it, but like, I just block it. I don't want to see it, right? Like, it should exist, but I don't want it in my space. So just block it. Yeah, and those war crimes accounts, like, they have some of the most sinister people out there. Like, they're so fucking bloodthirsty, it's unfucking real. Like, they like that it's happening, and it's like, well, what's the purpose of having war crimes then? Like, if you're going to salivate when you see them. Most people still don't want to be seen as supporting porn, even if they're okay with that. They don't have to support it. I'm not saying anyone should see it or watch it. Just leave other people the fuck alone. And they leave you alone as well. Because, like, a lot of them are so upset. It's like, oh, well, I had this mortal stance and now everyone is up my ass. Because I see it happening on Twitter. Like, they bully an artist and then, like, all of them get bullied in return. And it's like, well, you were looking for it. Like, I'm not into rape culture, but, like, you are certainly looking for it, you know? But no, like, my thing, again, is not about porn. It's just, like, the moral crusade. Like, there always has to be a fucking moral crusade. Like, there needs to be a moral crusade against Satanism, and then there's a moral crusade against racism, and then there's a moral crusade against homophobia, Islamophobia, transphobia. Now it's whatever the fuck this is. And so you look at all these moral panics in the past, and tell me, like, which one of them was actually successful at making the world better? Was, like, the moral crusade against sexism improving the relationship between men and women? Was the moral crusade against racism improving race relations? Was the moral crusade against the satanic panic actually help raise Christianity and make it more popular? Right? Like, you notice that these moral crusades, the only thing that they accomplish is the people leading the crusade get rich. Right? Like the Rita Sarkeesians, the televangelists, like, these people, they get very rich. But the people, mental health decreases because they're constantly angry and screaming at each other. And then you notice that as a society, the fundamental harm is a lot worse. Right? Like, the satanic panic caused a lot of atheists. The anti-racist crusade destroyed race relations and put them far worse than they used to be. The crusade against rape culture actually created the worst place for women, especially in places like the UK. Like, you're looking at all these crusades, right? Every single one, it does literally, like, culturally the opposite of what it set out to do. Because it has to water down definitions, it has to constantly find people to attack and assault. It makes the people supporting that look like monsters. Like, you know, the deranged feminists that have, like, their eyeballs gouging out and, like, constantly shouting and complaining. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I wouldn't want that person as my neighbor. Thanks for covering the ban. It did successfully piss me off, as it came directly from Steam support, and I didn't break any rules. It was your fucking ban? It was your fucking ban. Oh my god, the real Zardax. Oh, well, actually, hold on. You gave it to me on Discord. Why are you having, like, a different avatar on my stream that you have on Discord? I'm a people person, not a name person. How is saying you should be able to beat up a video game character in-game bannable issue? Well, it's what we're talking about, is the canonizing, right? Like, it's the fact that they have to do the moral crusade against racismus. So again, for those of you that joined a little bit later, I will show you again what we're talking about. So this is a ban that happened to the real Zardax. He's talking about Kingdom Come 2. And he is saying that, well, there's this black person in the game, but it's fine because, you know, you have the player choice to do whatever. And Zartak says, if we set aside the fact that he shouldn't even be in the game, I don't mind the fact that his character makes those claims. The problem is you can't talk back to him or organize a good old lynching. And this is why he got banned, right? For promoting violence in a video game. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, do you think this type of ban, this type of behavior, do you think that it actually decreases racism in the world or that it amplifies it? Because now you're thinking like, okay, these people are fucking unhinged. I don't want to associate with them because I don't want other people to think that I am unhinged. And so, like, it's my job now to spy them. And by them, I mean the moderators and the people who make this game. Remember when Tumblr banned porn? Oh, God. Well, it's a story as old as the internet, really. Like, you have a place where you have people from a subculture, like, I don't know, Doctor Who, Supernatural, anime, well, whatever the fuck you want, right? And people go there and they're actually enjoying themselves, they're sharing in the hobby, they're sharing fan fiction, they're sharing fan art, right? And it becomes, like, really popular. Now, of course, there are some people that do, like, they draw pornography, right? Or cosplay or whatever. But they're a subsection. But what happens is, like, all these communities, they gravitate. And they create a space. And then you have, like, the normies attracted to the space. And when the normies get there, they start to moralize. And they're like, oh my God, you wrote fan fiction about Dean and Sam Winchester doing homosexual activity. Oh, how can we allow? How can we permit? This is disgusting. This is vile. We need terms of service. We need the platform to ban, right? And so, like, the platform starts banning some of the artists. The artists go to another platform, aka Twitter, and they bring their entire communities with them. And then the platform dies. And this has been happening on the internet for so fucking long. Like almost in every place is the same fucking story. Was there anything left after Tumblr banned porn? Not really. The thing with Tumblr is that I understand it actually did have a problem. They say, like, they found CP, but, like, I don't know if they found, like, doodles of it. Because now in 2025, you have to ask. It's like, well, did they find, like, actual children being abused, or did they find drawings of various fan arts and whatever? But what is known is that it got deplatformed from Apple, I believe. Right, so they decided to ban the entire pornography rather than regulate it. They should have regulated it. They should have been like, no, we're going to age gate it. You're not allowed. Like Twitter has it, right? Twitter has, like, no underage characters being depicted, blah, 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 right? And that's acceptable. Like, it's a compromise. It's a medium ground. Did you miss the article? Yes. I'm sorry. Honestly, I prefer a porn parody than a gory scene. Am I weird for thinking the same? Like, if I'm actually to... Okay, so I'm browsing Twitter. And I get to see either Kanye West posting hardcore pornography with real people. Ugh. Like, I'm sorry, at least be a cultured man and post some 2D anime waifu with big tits. Like, why can't you be normal? But no, he posts the 3D shit. It's like, okay. Or I get to see some war crimes on my feed. I would rather see the porn, to be honest. But I'm curious, like, am I weird for wanting that? Yeah, like, I literally had the person saying that I give the Confederate vibes. I'm not even American. I give Confederate vibes to people. For me, pornography is one of the things you frown and discourage and have social stigma. Never legally ban it. I fucking know, right? Like, just like any vice. Just like any vice. Just like alcohol, just like tobacco, just like gambling. Yeah, you discourage it. You don't do it in public. You don't do it in front of children, right? You don't involve them in it. Just like gambling, just like smoking, just like drinking. The same way you treat drinking, right? Like, kids aren't allowed in bars. You're not giving alcohol to kids. Like, all of that, I agree. It's a vice. And you know what? Like, the thing that people don't understand is that real virtue isn't by, like, taking away people's ability to sin. Real virtue is when a person is placed in front of the decision whether to commit a virtue or a sin, and they commit the virtue. I know you don't like it, but the right must dominate culture with our morals and values, because if we live and let live, leftists will always take advantage and fill the void with that ideology. The thing with, like, the right, I really don't like the neo-Protestants, the Lutheranians. Like, you see, like, you're going to eventually run into this conflict. Because even if you allow the right to have, like, Christian values, well, what is Christian values? Because, like, the ones from America are fundamentally different than the ones from Eastern Europe. The ones from America, you guys have this thing called sola scriptura, which basically means only the scripture. And so when you have the sola scriptura, it means that whatever the pastor interprets the Bible, that's what goes. So like the pastor will always interpret the Bible in such a way that it promotes his pleasures and distracts that by using the pleasures that he doesn't have, the vices that he doesn't have, in order to attack others. So in other words, if you have a pastor that likes to smoke and likes to drink, he's going to focus on gambling, right? And the problem is that you're removing tradition. Like, tradition in a society is also important. And tradition is actually what guards you against the woke. Because if you come here in Eastern Europe and you start talking about woke ideology and allowing immigrants in, like, people will say, well, hold on a little bit, like, they're Muslims. We've been fighting the Ottoman Empire and blah, 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 blah. And, right? Like, you would get a lot more pushback. With Sola Scriptura, you can have a woke person interpreting the Bible, and it's a lot easier to basically subvert the entire ideology. And you also have to take into account that this is why the woke lost. Like, woke people, despite the fact that they push their ideology into everything, including video games, entertainment, movies, TV shows, social media, the workplace, schools, like everywhere you go, you get woke values. And despite the fact that they were dominating the culture, they lost. And why did they lose? It's because average people told them to fuck off. They lost because of the Karen mentality. They lost because they couldn't allow other people to live and mind their own business. It's like, let me put it this way, right? If you're at a restaurant and you have a vegan that comes up at you and screams that meat is murder, like, I'm pretty sure that vegan thinks he is the beacon of morality, and he thinks that he has, like, better takes than everyone else, and in his social circle, he's congratulated for his veganism. But when he comes up to you and you don't share his morality, and you didn't want to do anything against him, like, you not for a second in your mind did the concept of like, bothering vegans became a thing, right? But when that vegan comes to you and starts screaming that meat is murder and is disturbing the lovely dinner you're having with your wife at the restaurant, how do you feel towards the vegan? And if he keeps doing this, like, day in and day out, doesn't it make you want to fuck with him? Like, doesn't it encourage you? It's like, yeah, you know what? Like, maybe I should actually dedicate some time and resources to fuck with the vegans. And you're going to find other people, you're going to find other individuals that feel the same way. And you're going to find, like, various ways in order to just to mess with them. Like, maybe start a barbecue next to their house or some shit. It doesn't matter how petty it is. But, like, now, he actually created an enemy that shouldn't have existed before. The chuckleheads for environmentalism that block the roads. Like, when they inconvenience you, like, you're just going to work, you don't care about them at all, but now they block the road. How do you feel about that, right? This is what the woke were doing. And if the right-wingers will start doing this again, you're going to have the same shit that happened in the Bush era. You're just going to have the same shit that's going to happen in the future. Because in the Bush era, I remember exactly, it was video games cause violence, Pokemon is satanic, slasher films are for psychopaths, black metal is the music of Satan, Dungeons and Dragons and Harry Potter promote magic and is satanic, and all of that thing, you know, and then all this nonsense. And the reality is that when you look at things, what is fun? Fun is either, usually, not all the time, but fun is usually either immoral, unhealthy, or illegal. Like driving the car at 200 miles per hour. Like, it's fun, but it's illegal and unhealthy and probably immoral. Because you can run into someone, right? And so, like, there should be some activities that are fun and are allowed. In fact, we should err on the side of allowing rather than on the side of forbidding. But I don't think it will last. I generally don't think. I can't see the culture stabilizing, at least not in the next 2 years. I don't know what the future will bring. I don't know, but I think there's going to be a couple more moral panics between things get a little bit more normal. Porn is why the internet exists? No, it's actually why streaming exists. Like, this is actually a funny thing, but the reason streaming and payment processors were actually invented was because they needed to facilitate porn on the internet. It's like when you slap that lady's tushy, the smack was desynchronized, and you needed to, like, you know, like, just when you see it in the image, you needed to hear it. And so, like, they They tried creating a better streaming experience. Now it's video games cause isms. I think that will go away. I think there's going to be something new to complain. Anyway, speaking of playing, I should actually go and play Frostpunk 2. I downloaded Frostpunk 2. I want to see if it's a good game. I like Frostpunk 1. So I can't recommend Frostpunk 2 yet because I haven't played it. But I'll see how it is and I'll tell you guys. Anyway, should I raid to Sargon or to Arch? I will raid to Sargon because Sargon rarely streams. And he has, I think, not one, not two, but 3 children. He's got 3 children, and so he can benefit from my support. He doesn't have a channel as big as mine, and therefore I can actually help him from the kindness of my heart. Wait, hold on. Let's I will send my 221 viewers to his doorstep. I will do this because I am a kind person. As soon as I figure out how. Ah, here we go. We got redirect. We got Pippa. We got Rosa Koala. I don't think I can redirect to Sargon though, because he is not following me. Hold on. Oh, I'm unsubscribed from him. Holy shit, I did not know this. YouTube has unsubscribed it from Sargon of Akkad. This is not okay. This is not okay, YouTube. I did not ask for this. Why did you unsubscribe me from Carl? Shameful display, YouTube. What do you guys think that YouTube did this, huh? I mean, even his current stream, the way I found out about it is because chat told me so. Yeah, I can't give you to Sargon. Oh, never mind, I can. Redirect privileges needed. Ask the Don to add your live redirect to the communities. YouTube, why are you having such a needlessly complex system? Like, why can't I just redirect to someone that I want? Why do I need to? This is so lame, chat. This is unbelievably lame. Can I screenshot it? Anyway, fine. Sargon won't get me. I'll send you over to Arch. Be mean to him. Be mean to him. Don't be nice. Criticize his gameplay. Backseat game. This is what I want you guys to do. To backseat game. Criticize his mistakes and ignore when he actually does good. Take care.